Brothers and sisters, today I want to share with you a story, not just of a man, but of a legend, a man whose name shook the hearts of his enemies and brought hope to the believers. The story of Khalid Ibn Al-Walid, Saifullah, the sword of Allah. Khalid Ibn Al-Walid wasn't always with the Muslims. In fact, he was one of their fiercest enemies. He was born into the powerful Quraysh tribe, a man of strength, strategy and pride. He was the mastermind behind the Muslim defeat at the Battle of Uhud, where the believers suffered heavy losses. At that time, Khalid stood on the battlefield, convinced of his victory, proud of his skills. But deep down, something didn't sit right. Even with all his success, his heart was restless. But you see, no matter how far someone is from the truth, if Allah wills guidance for them, nothing can stop it. Khalid started to see through the lies, the false pride of his tribe and the empty victories. He began to hear the message of Islam not just with his ears, but with his heart. And when the time came, this man, this warrior who once fought against the Prophet Mohammed, laid down his arms, humbled himself and embraced Islam. Imagine the courage it takes to stand against your own tribe, your own past, and say, I was wrong. And when Khalid accepted Islam, he didn't come halfway. No, he gave his everything. The Prophet himself called him Saifullah, the sword of Allah. And let me tell you something about that sword. It never broke. It never faltered. Khalid led the Muslims into battle after battle against armies far larger and better equipped. And by the will of Allah, he never lost. At the Battle of Muttah, when the Muslim army was vastly outnumbered, Khalid took command after the martyrdom of 3 leaders and brought the army back safely, a feat that seemed impossible. But here's the thing, my brothers and sisters. Khalid wasn't just a man of the sword, he was a man of heart, loyalty and humility. When Umar ibn al-Khattab became the caliph, he removed Khalid from command. Now, imagine that. You're undefeated, the greatest military leader alive, and you're told to step down. Most people would have felt betrayed, insulted, but not Khalid. He obeyed without question, without resentment, because he wasn't fighting for fame or power. He was fighting for Allah. And now comes the part that shakes me to my core every time I think about it. Khalid Ibn Al-Walid fought in over 100 battles. He had scars on every part of his body except his back, because he never turned his back to the enemy. He was the bravest of the brave. Yet, when the time came for him to die, it wasn't on the battlefield. It wasn't with the sword in his hand. Khalid Ibn Al-Walid, the sword of Allah, died on his bed. Can you imagine? A man who spent his whole life seeking martyrdom dies on his bed. And what did he say? He looked at his scars and said, I fought in so many battles, and there is not a place in my body without a scar from a sword or an arrow. Yet here I am, dying on my bed like a camel. Let not the eyes of the cowards sleep. Brothers and sisters, Khalid ibn al-Walid's story isn't just about bravery on the battlefield. It's about sincerity, dedication, and understanding that victory and death are in Allah's hands. No matter how strong you are, no matter how much you seek control, it is Allah who decides. Khalid submitted to that, and that's why his name lives on. Not just as a warrior, but as a believer whose heart was always for Allah. Let us take from his story a lesson, not just to be strong in our bodies, but to be strong in our faith, to be humble in our victories, patient in our trials, and sincere in everything we do for the sake of Allah. Because at the end of the day, brothers and sisters, it's not about how you start, it's about how you finish. Khalid started as an enemy of Islam, but he finished as one of its greatest heroes. May Allah grant us hearts like his, fearless, humble, and always loyal to the truth. Ameen.